Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we delve into the vast expanse of human experience, uncovering the intricacies and complexities that have shaped our world. Today, we find ourselves on the battle-scarred terrain of Virginia, in the midst of the American Civil War, as we explore the pivotal events leading up to the Battle of Cold Harbor, a clash that would etch its name into the annals of history. It is the spring of 1864, and the conflict has been raging for 3 years, with both the Union and Confederate armies having suffered significant losses. The Union's Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant has recently been appointed General-in-Chief by President Abraham Lincoln, and he is determined to bring a swift end to the war. Grant's strategy involves a coordinated effort between his forces and those of Major General William Tecumseh Sherman in Georgia, aiming to strangle the Confederacy by seizing its capital, Richmond, and destroying its army. The Confederate leader, General Robert E. Lee, aware of Grant's intentions, prepares to defend his territory with every ounce of strength at his disposal. As we move through the Virginia landscape, we come across the tranquil yet ominous setting of the wilderness, where the armies of Grant and Lee first clashed in early May 1864. The Battle of the Wilderness marked a new era in warfare, characterized by trenches, fortifications, and brutal, relentless combat. Though the battle itself was tactically inconclusive, it set the tone for the campaign to come, a campaign that would push both armies to their limits. Following the Wilderness, Grant's forces began a series of maneuvers designed to outflank Lee's army, aiming to draw him into open battle where the Union's superior numbers could be fully utilized. This led to a series of engagements at Spotsylvania Courthouse and North Anna River, each marking a step in the dance towards the ultimate showdown. The landscape itself played a significant role in these maneuvers, with the dense forests, rolling hills, and winding rivers of Virginia dictating the pace and direction of the Army's movements. It was amidst this backdrop that the small crossroads of Cold Harbor emerged as a pivotal location, a place where roads converged, offering a gateway to Richmond for Grant's advancing forces. As we approach the eve of the Battle of Cold Harbor, the atmosphere is tense with anticipation. Both armies are weary from weeks of constant fighting and marching, yet they remain resolute in their determination. In the days leading up to the battle, Grant's forces are in a state of rapid movement, seeking to exploit any weakness in Lee's defenses. The Union cavalry, under the command of Major General Philip Sheridan, plays a crucial role in these maneuvers, conducting daring raids deep into Confederate territory and gathering vital intelligence on enemy movements. Meanwhile, Lee's army, though outnumbered, remains a formidable force, bolstered by its knowledge of the terrain and its unwavering commitment to defend the Confederacy. The Confederate leader is acutely aware of Grant's strategy and prepares his defenses accordingly, anticipating that the next major battle will be the most crucial yet. As the first light of dawn breaks on May 31, 1864, the armies of Grant and Lee are poised on the brink of a confrontation that will decide the fate of Richmond and, by extension, the outcome of the war. The air is heavy with tension, the silence broken only by the distant rumble of artillery and the murmured prayers of soldiers on both sides, each knowing that the day ahead will bring unimaginable horror and sacrifice. As the first light of dawn breaks on May 31, 1864, the armies of Grant and Lee are poised on the brink of a confrontation that will decide the fate of Richmond and, by extension, the outcome of the war. The air is heavy with tension, the silence broken only by the distant rumble of artillery and the murmured prayers of soldiers on both sides, each knowing that the day ahead will bring unimaginable horror and sacrifice. The Union forces, numbering over 100 men, are arrayed across a broad front, their lines stretching from the Totopotomoy Creek to the Chickahominy River, while Lee's army, with approximately 60,000 soldiers, is dug in behind a series of fortified earthworks, carefully constructed to funnel the Union attackers into killing zones. As the morning wears on, Grant's forces begin their advance, probing the Confederate lines for weaknesses. The Union cavalry, under Sheridan's command, sweeps around the flanks, seeking to disrupt Lee's supply lines and create chaos in his rear. Meanwhile, the infantry, led by Corps commanders such as Major General Winfield Scott Hancock and Major General Gouverneur Kemble Warren, moves forward with caution, aware of the formidable defenses awaiting them. The Confederates, anticipating this assault, have carefully prepared their positions, anchoring their flanks on the Totopotomoy Creek and the Chickahominy River, and creating a series of strongpoints, including the infamous Turkey Hill, which will soon become a focal point of the battle. On June 1, 1864, the Union forces launch a series of frontal assaults against the Confederate lines, hoping to break through and shatter Lee's army. The fighting is intense and brutal, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The Union troops, weighed down by heavy packs and exhausted from weeks of marching, struggle to make headway against the entrenched Confederates, who are firing from behind the safety of their earthworks. As one Union soldier later recalled, "The rebels were behind their works, and we had to go up to them, and they would shoot us down like sheep." Despite these challenges, the Union forces managed to gain a foothold on the Confederate right flank near the village of Cold Harbor, where they establish a precarious bridgehead. Over the next several days, the battle rages on, with both sides trading blows and neither gaining a decisive advantage. On June 2, 1864, Grant's forces launch another series of assaults, hoping to exploit any weaknesses in the Confederate lines. However, Lee's army holds firm, inflicting heavy casualties on the Union attackers. As the days turn into a bloody and exhausting stalemate, the soldiers on both sides begin to feel the strain. On June 3, 1864, the Union forces launch their final assault on the Confederate lines in what will become one of the most infamous episodes of the battle. At 4:30 a.m., a massive artillery bombardment begins, with over 500 Union guns firing simultaneously against the Confederate positions. The earthworks are pounded mercilessly, causing widespread destruction and chaos among the Confederate ranks. However, when the Union infantry advances, they are met with a hail of bullets and shells, which cuts them down in droves. The fighting is intense and brutal, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. As one Union officer later recalled, "The enemy's fire was so severe that it seemed to cut our men down like grain before a reaper." As the Union infantry advances on June 3, 1864, they are met with a hail of bullets and shells, which cuts them down in droves. The fighting is intense and brutal, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. Despite the overwhelming firepower, the Confederate lines hold firm, and the Union attack ultimately falters. By the end of the day, the Union forces have suffered over 3,000 casualties, while the Confederates have lost around 1,500 men. The assault is a dismal failure, and Grant's forces are left to regroup and reassess their strategy. In the aftermath of the battle, both sides begin to dig in, marking the beginning of a prolonged siege. The Union forces, still numbering over 100 men, continue to probe the Confederate lines, seeking a weak point to exploit. However, Lee's army remains resolute, anchored behind their formidable earthworks. As the days turn into weeks, the battle becomes a war of attrition, with both sides suffering heavy losses. On June 12, 1864, Grant's forces finally disengage from the battlefield, marking the end of the Battle of Cold Harbor. The Battle of Cold Harbor was one of the bloodiest battles of the American Civil War, with over 15,000 casualties suffered by both sides. The battle marked a turning point in the war, as Grant's forces began to shift their focus towards Petersburg, Virginia, and the eventual siege of the city. As historian Gary Gallagher notes, the Battle of Cold Harbor was a significant milestone on the road to Appomattox, as it marked the beginning of the end of Lee's ability to launch large-scale offensives. The battle also had a profound impact on the soldiers who fought in it, with many never forgetting the horrors they witnessed. One veteran later recalled, "I saw men shot down like dogs and their bodies left to rot on the field. It was a sight that I will never forget." Today, the Battle of Cold Harbor is remembered as a pivotal moment in American history, marking the beginning of the end of the Confederacy. The battlefield has been preserved as a National Historic Site, with many of the original earthworks and fortifications still intact. Visitors can walk the grounds, tracing the steps of the soldiers who fought and died there. As they reflect on the battle's significance, they are reminded of the devastating cost of war and the importance of understanding the past. The Battle of Cold Harbor serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring legacy of the Civil War and its continued relevance in American society today. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that To understand the present, we must first understand the past.